Thank you very much. For those that don't know, I'm Mayor Donald Hewish, and it's exciting to hold this town hall. We have all the council members with us this evening, starting down at that end, our Vice Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Margaret Morales, representing Ward 1. We have next to her Mr. Rich Lindeman, who represents Ward 2. And to my immediate right, Mrs. Danya Acosta, who represents Ward 3. To my left, Mr. Ray Shelton, who represents Ward 4. Mr. Michael Valdenegro, who represents Ward 5. And at the end, down there, Mr. Jose Grijalva, who represents Ward 6. What we'd like to do this evening is we've put out a list of topics that we'd like to discuss this evening. We'd like to, I don't want to cut anybody short, but we figured that timing-wise would probably be about an hour and a half worth of topics. If we go longer than that, great. If we go shorter than that, even greater. But we want to provide information, so each of the council members and staff will...
Welcome back. How can I help you?
You can be quiet. That doesn't sound too good, though. Well, she sounded good. Okay. So each one of our council members will take part in presenting the topic, and then we would open it up for any questions that you may have. Just so a point of interest that the town hall is for an exchange of information. We want you to know what information that we're thinking about. We would also like to hear what you're thinking about and what questions that we may not have thought of. Because I'm a firm believer that it's putting all our minds together is better than just 7 of us. And we want to hear and understand and be able to do that. So we have microphones on either side. The only one I've given special permission to is Dr. Gomez, because he walks a little crooked nowadays. And so he's the only one that if he raises his hand, we'll get him the microphone. But if the rest of you would please come to the microphone, and then we can maintain the order. And again, it's not going to be a debate. It's not going to be any type of back and forth. We want to provide information and then go from there. And so we can all hopefully make a are you ran out? Okay. Somebody's trying to tell me not to talk? That's good. So leading off, our first subject this evening is the water and sewer.
You can change that over.
And Mrs. Acosta will lead off with that for us.
Good afternoon.
Let's get that microphone. Let's get that microphone.
Just take it down. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. So one of the big topics, and understandably so, is the water sewer rate increases that have been proposed by staff. So earlier this year, we received a study through 65 North Group, and their study basically looked at all of our needs throughout the city for our water utilities. Yeah. Hello. So 65 North Group came in and did a study to see what kind of needs our water system and sewer systems needed as a utility. So one of the things, just going through the list of items that they observed, was that we have not had sewer rate increases since 2012. Other entities in the state also operate at a much higher rate for both those services in comparison to ourselves. And this is comparing cities and towns that are
approximately the same population size so that it's a good comparison between the data that is available. So some of the needs that our system needs include the deepening of 3 wells or possibly construction of new ones. And each of those wells would cost approximately $1.6 million each. You know, the staff has been doing a good job throughout this time in trying to upkeep and maintain the wells that we currently have and the systems that we currently have. However, like everything else, it needs to be updated, upgraded, and we also have to fight with the changes in the water table. Some of these wells, like I said, may need to be deepened, and depending on the area, may need to just be completely redone. So by increasing the rates, which is spread out during the next 5 years, it would allow for the city to have the funding to make these upgrades. I know that there's been a lot of misinformation as to what these rate increases would be used towards, but I believe it's through state law, is that correct? That we can only use these rate increases for the upkeep and maintenance of our utility system. It's not for salaries, it's not for streets, it's not for anything else that we do need. This is just specific to the water system and sewer.
A real quick point, I believe she said, correct me if I'm wrong, not for salaries, it is for salaries within the water department, water and sewer department.
Right.
No somewhere else. And so it doesn't pay for central administration, doesn't pay for anything else. And it's not necessarily state law, but it's within our city operational guidelines that we raise revenue for only that particular purpose.
Thank you for that clarification. So in looking at the bear with me here. So the increases again would go towards the replacement of the system of the SCADA system, which is the supervisory control and data acquisition. It's a computer system to monitor, manage, and control the wells, the water production, and the treatment. As you can imagine, the system that we currently have is outdated, and it just no longer is supported. As we all know, technology changes very quickly, and we are behind. We are very behind on that. The other items that would be supported by this increase would be heavy and small equipment replacement, water line replacement, valves, hydrants, well backup generators, the replacement of sewer lines, which is approximately 5 blocks of that. And that there, there are various areas in town that are just extremely outdated. There's a lot of problems with the sewer backup in some of these older areas of our city, and there's no other way around it. It needs to be replaced. And then heavy and small sewer equipment. So again, these are the needs for both water and sewer, and what the increases would cover. So if we look at the water and sewer rate increases, the total increase, so on average per month, the first year would go about 61 cents. That's at a 2.5% increase the first 3 years. So rather than, do a full increase year one and hit everybody with the increase all at once, it's recommended that it be done over 5 years. First 3 at the 2.5% increase, and the next 2, the last 2 years at 3.5%. For the consumption fee increase, that would be 5% for the next 3 years and 8%. Correct? 8%? 8.5. Okay, I have 85. I was like, no, that can't be right. 85% now. 8.5% for the last 2 years. So on a bill of about 5,000 gallon consumption per month, the total increase would be about $4, just a little bit over $4. The sewer increase each year would be a steady 4% per year. And that would bring the total increase after 5 years per month of $5.42. So if we look at the example of the bill, the increases would be based on how you see it itemized here, the water-based charge, actually the water consumption. So you would see the increases to those amounts, not the full bill, not the full $67. So it would be the 2.5% for the first 3 years on the water base. Correct?
If the visual behind you, I think would be helpful. Basically, this is what our water bill looks like. We circled the 50 there, that's the usage. Whenever you see that, you want to add 2 zeros, and that represents the full consumption amount. So for 50, that represents 5,000 gallons. Okay, when we look at our current bill, there on the left side, the base water charge is at $15.50. With the proposed increase after year 5, you will see that on the right-hand side, the water-based charge will change to $17.88. That's the change at the end of year 5. Mr. Acosta talked about that these increases will be gradual over the next 5 years, but we're presenting the end result of the proposed increases here. The other component that will change would be the water consumption. At 5,000 gallons, we currently see about $5 that we pay. The proposed increase will raise that to $6.15 for those same 5,000 gallons. The sewer currently pay $25 on a monthly basis, and the proposed increase would make that go to $30.42. We also put in the garbage because we know we get billed for garbage on the same bill with our water and sewer. As you can see that we're not changing. The $20 is still $20. Obviously that changes the Superfund, the sales tax, as well as the regular sales tax. Obviously those will be calculated off of the water charges. So total, when we compare what our current bill with 5,000 gallons of consumption looks like, $67.56. Our new bill at the end of year 5 would look like at $76.87 with 5,000 gallon consumption. Why did we say 5,000 gallons? Because that is on average what a typical in-city residential person utilizes. Some may use less, some may use more, just depending on your usage. The bottom portion there represents our difference. So what does that difference look like? it's a $9.31 difference than what we're paying today.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so that would be the total, the $9.86 would be after the 5-year increase, and then that's where you can see how much the increase would be after 5 years per month. So, we just want to point out that this is, like Mr. Pedrosa said, an average water bill for consumption of 5,000 gallons of water per month. It doesn't, this doesn't take into account commercial usage or outside of the city limits. So we just wanted to give you guys the example of what an average residence in the city can expect as far as increase.
And then, if I could add some, I know Mr. Costa went over just the specific items. We wanted to put those out there, and we thought it was important to say what the capital needs are. But we want to also say that since 2012, just like anything else, the operations and maintenance for water treatment, water productions, they've gone up just like everything else. Our rates have not kept up with that. So this is definitely something that we are being reactive towards that, but also the needs are now different. As it was mentioned, the water to bring water out of the ground is a lot more involved process, a lot more expensive process than what it used to be 10, 15 years ago. Changes in our dynamics here, in our water table, those have played a part in that. So we again have to invest further resources in order to continue to provide that water production, water treatment. When we say treatment is treating water, cleaning, make sure we deliver clean water by filtering and treating that water with chlorine. So definitely those processes have increased over these few years. But main components are, we need to drill 3 wells to keep the same level of service. Just that water table keeps going down, and the needs, the infrastructure, it continues to grow older. We also put an example that 5 blocks of sewer line replacement costs $500,000, and it's not the only section that we need to replace. It's several other sections that we need to start looking at. So we put that as an example, but we know that the needs are definitely greater than that.
If anybody'd like to ask questions or comment on this one, please come up to the side and talk. And Mr. Ambrisa is going to go first, and then we'll have Mr. Gomez.
Yes, my name is Frank Ambrisa. I live on 2154 Gulf Street, Dallas. I have a couple of questions for the person that's handling the wells. How many wells do we have right now on production?
6.
6 wells.
6.
My understanding that you had 3 and 1 was a submersible pumping wells. Then the other question that I have is, why are we providing water to Silver Creek areas, Leslie Canyon areas? They're hauling water from here to that area. In my experience, I only have 7 wells, 3 irrigations and 4 domestic wells. And my water table is going pretty average. One of them is about 50 feet to water. The other ones are 60. The other ones are 200 feet. So, and then I thought I heard something that Mrs. Acosta was saying about the treatment plant, the sewer treatment plant or the water treatment plant. Which one was it? Didn't we get any funding to do the treatment plant, the waste treatment plant when we did 8 acres? Did it run out of space already?
No,
Okay, so are we going to fund that, put some money into it?
it's the ongoing continuing operations and maintenance of that new plant that we need to upkeep. And we talked about the sewer line replacement and other types of equipment that we're on.
My concern is why are we providing water to outside sources? Not Bay Acres, Fertile, but way out there in Silver Creek. I don't know if you know where Silver Creek is. We're providing water to them by using tankers to take water out there. Why can't they drill their own wells? Like we here, we're trying to drill wells 800 feet. It's gonna be very costly.
Just to understand, Mr. Maurice, so people are coming in and filling up a tanker and taking it out to those areas.
Correct. And I see them almost all day when I go to my ranches and farms.
Where?
They go to Silver Creek.
No, where are they filling them up at?
They have several locations that the city provided for them to hook onto a hose and build a tank. There's one that I can remember. One is around the Border Patrol Station. The other one is near the fairgrounds. And I think there's one around this area. And they have big valves on the hydrants that are providing the water.
And those are paid, as I understand. And Eli, if you want to clarify, please do.
By the way, we have our department heads here to help us with answering any questions.
Yes, we do provide water mostly from fire hydrants and purified meters.
Talk about metering.
Yes, my name is Robert Bosa, Senior Douglas Water Supervisor. And yes, we do provide water for them. Most of them come in, haul out water in 100 to 500 gallon carriers for themselves to take out to their farms. A lot of other ones that are contractors, they're here in Douglas, we do charge them a fee. Every single thing that they carry, piece of water that carry from us is metered. It's metered and paid for. Everywhere it's come in, do a contract and account, same as any other person would. It's like we're providing water just to another person. But they're, mostly the big tankers are contractors, we work here for the city. Really rare, you get a big tanker that comes out to outside the town to take water to the farm.
Go on this, we can go on Golf Course Road.
Yes,
Where that detention basin broke,
yes,
right there, there's one, and there's a person that takes water from there to Silver Creek.
yes, and then there's small carriers also.
No, it's about a 3,000 gallon tank. So if that's the case, then I'll close my well, get a tanker, and ship my water to my cattle out there.
Oh, they're paying for the water.
Yes,
They're not getting it free.
I don't have to drill.
Sure, we just see the water department and I'm sure we can hook you up with a meter
Yes.
Okay?
at a higher rate than others, but because we love you so much.
Right. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambriz. Dr. Gomez, please.
Yes, I'm concerned about the elderly. You know, this is basic, water and sewer. Some people are only getting a $600 social security check. Somehow or other, there should be a waiver for the people that can't afford it. Maybe they can bring an income tax form and say, my gosh, how am I gonna afford this on a $500 or $600 social security? I'm not speaking for myself, but we're concerned about the elderly. Can they afford it? Probably not. So maybe there's a waiver, bring an income tax form or bring in the social security check that they get and say, I have no other income. There should be a little waiver.
That I don't have an answer for, Dr. Gomez, but we'll look into it.
Mayor,
Please.
One of the things that we did do for that, to keeping those in mind, is that we increased it a little bit heavier on the consumption versus the base fee. Everybody pays the same base fee, but not everybody, for the consumption rate, you pay what you consume. So what we did is, instead of bringing the increases heavier on the base fee, we did it heavier on the consumption fee, so that those that are higher consumers should pay higher versus those that don't consume a whole lot of water should pay less. Now, does everybody get affected with the increases? Yes. So what we try to do is to kind of balance it out for those that are using less water, we feel the less of the increase than those with higher consumption.
But I also think it's something that we need to look into, the possibility of any subsidies that may be available out there for that type of thing. Yes, Dr. Gomez, please.
Just listening to Mr. Ambrose, I would hope that you would increase the fees on those people that are taking our water out a little bit more. And charge them, maybe it would make them want to dig their own wells. Now, in that regard, I have my own well, and I don't know exactly where your well is at. I know I'm north of the shooting range, and you guys have a well out there. My water I had to redo it in April when they were doing that whole, not redo it. I thought I was gonna have to because they were doing the wall and they were drawing all that water, and oh man, curtains, like they were probably going dry because they're hauling out. Anyway, my water is the same. My table is the same as it has been for 30 years. So I don't know where it's going dry, but thank God it's not going dry by me. So you might want to look out there.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Gomez, please.
My name is Jose Vasquez. So, water and sewer is like a critical utility to have, right? So right now, my family and I and like 10 other tenants, we live in South Gap Circle. We haven't had water or sewer for about 4 months now, going for 5 months. So I've been getting the runaround, I've been getting told that this is happening, I've been getting told that that is happening. We got provided with some, what do you call it, porta potties. You know, I have kids that have to use that stuff. This whole summer, it was dreadful. We didn't have nothing to cool down the houses. I had to purchase what you call an AC unit, a mini split unit. All the houses, all the trailers are owned by the people that live there. They're not part of the park. So nobody can just grab their things and move out of the park. So I talked to Eddie Gonzalez, the environmental specialist. He couldn't give me no answers. His supervisor talked to me. He said that they talked to the owner, that the owner was supposed to provide a survey of some sort, but he's already late. So he's already giving him more chance while we're sitting there suffering with no water, no sewer. People are still using their water, they're buying water, they're still using their sewer. My house is the one that is affected most by it because it's the last trailer. So everybody's stuff is going back into my house, and all this smell I have to be dealing with every single night. My kids, I don't know if this is healthy or not, but as an environmental specialist, they didn't give me no answer, they didn't give me tell me nothing. They've been digging trenches all around everybody's houses. There's no hazard signs, there's no posts, there's pipes sticking out of the ground, out of our houses, right in front of our houses. I have children. There's an old couple that had to go through this whole summer with the record heats. I don't know if you guys know, 120 degrees, 115, whatever it was. But for an elderly person to come at you and tell you, hey, I couldn't go to sleep till my bed cooled down. You know what I mean? So I'm going through a really rough situation, and I need answers from the city or from somebody. We are part of the city. We do pay our taxes. And for us to be suffering like this, I don't think it's right.
Jose, I know the situation is much more, like you said, is much more complicated, but I will have this young man right here in the front row with the tie on, that he'll answer you. If you can hold on to the end of this meeting, he'll make sure you know what's going on. Because it is a health and environmental issue that I know and the county's involved, because they do the health part of it, and so it's a little bit more complicated than what we'd like to do. And so again, those questions that you're asking, Luis can help you. You know, if you can hold on to the end of the meeting. If not, give him your contact information.